Buongiorno, mi amigos. Now, we all remember that fateful night when Seth Rollins turned on his brothers and aligned himself with the Authority. But lately, I've had a little bit of a thought. What if it was Roman Reigns that was the one that broke up the Shield on that night instead? So get yourself a little treat, maybe a can of lilt, and let me read you a bedtime story about the time that Roman Reigns became a corporate stooge. Now, the Shield, they were on top of the world in 2014. You had Dean Ambrose, you had Seth Rollins, you had Roman Reigns. They had a brotherhood built on their shared mission of justice. You know how it goes. Together they tore through WWE, didn't they? They'd dismantle the Dossers and they'd leave chaos wherever they'd go. But behind all that black tactical gear and their fists that they raise and put together, things were beginning to change. Roman Reigns, the powerful, silent enforcer of the group, had begun to question his place, maybe. Night after night he was praised for his raw strength, but the spotlight always seemed to be on Seth Rollins' technical ability and Dean Ambrose's charisma. Roman wasn't just a muscle, he had the potential to be more, and the whispers in his ear, particularly from WWE management, namely that dastardly Triple H and the rest of the Authority, were growing louder. And Roman Reigns was the future, they said. He didn't need the Shield to rise to the top, he just needed that right moment. So here that moment came. The night after Payback, the Shield had destroyed Evolution, their greatest challenge yet. But as Roman stood tall in the ring, surveying the damage they'd done, a new thought struck him. If they could destroy them, what stops him from destroying his brothers? The next night on Raw, Triple H was waiting for Roman. The game's face was etched with the faintest of smirks as he watched the powerhouse of the Shield approach. "You don't need them," Triple H said. "I mean, Dean's a loose cannon, Seth's a showman, but you, Roman, you're the guy." God, these impressions are spot on, aren't they? "You could be bigger than both of them. All you have to do is stop carrying their dead weight." My throat hurts now. Bloody hell, wait, I need a drink. Much better. Right, where were we? Yeah. So Roman clenched his fists, tensed his muscles. The Shield was his family, his brothers. Triple H's words echoed in his head. He'd watched as Seth Rollins stole the show, as Dean Ambrose's unpredictability captivated the WWE Universe. Meanwhile, Roman was expected to clean up the mess, to be the muscle, nothing more. "I want you to think about this, Roman," Triple H continued, his smirk growing. "The Shield is great." Yeah, well, he's trying to convince him, you get the point. Now, Monday Night Raw, 24 hours removed from Payback. The Shield are in the ring, ready for six-man tag action. Now, as the match raged on, Roman Reigns felt something he hadn't felt in months. Resentment. Resentment for having to protect Seth Rollins from a double-team assault. Resentment for Dean Ambrose's reckless dives that left him exposed. You know, they were supposed to be equals, but Roman always felt like the one pulling the weight. During the closing moments of the match, Dean tagged in Roman to finish things off as he had done so many times before. Roman's fist connected with a brutal Superman punch, sending their final opponent crashing to the mat. Seth, perched on the top rope, raised his arms triumphantly, expecting Roman to tag him in for a frog splash. But Roman didn't move. Instead, his eyes locked with Seth's. And without warning, Roman Reigns turned and levelled Dean Ambrose with a massive spear. The crowd gasped in confusion, but it wasn't over. Seth, still perched on the turnbuckle, watched in shock as Roman turned towards him, cold fury in his eyes. Before Seth could react, Roman ran towards him. Superman punched him right in the nose. The fans can't believe what they're seeing. Roman stood alone in the ring, staring down at his fallen brothers, face expressionless. The referee called for the bell, but no one cared about the result. Roman's betrayal has been executed with ruthless efficiency. The Shield are broken. The following week, Roman Reigns stood in the centre of the ring, no longer dressed in his Shield gear. He wore a sleek black suit, hair pulled back, and his usual intensity was now masked by a cold corporate demeanour. By his side stood Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. grinning like they just sealed the future that they wanted for the WWE. "I'm done carrying dead weight," Roman began, his voice low but filled with conviction. "For too long I've been held back by two men who didn't deserve to be in the same ring as me. Dean Ambrose, an uncontrollable lunatic, and Seth Rollins, a glory hound who thinks he's the architect. But let me tell you something, Seth. I built the Shield, and now I've torn it down." The crowd just can't stop booing this man. Roman didn't flinch. He'd heard the cheers for his brothers for too long. Now it was his time. As Roman basked in his new alliance with the Authority, Dean Ambrose stormed the ring, his eyes filled with betrayal and rage. He charged at Roman, but Roman was ready, dodged Dean's attack and took him down with another devastating spear, leaving him writhing in agony on the mat. He looks down towards Dean, expressionless, stone-cold demeanour. The weeks that followed would be explosive. Dean Ambrose, now a lone wolf, was hell-bent on making Roman pay for his betrayal. His once chaotic energy was now fueled by revenge, and the WWE Universe rallied behind him. Seth Rollins, on the other hand, was reluctant to trust anybody. For all his intelligence and strategy, he'd never seen Roman's betrayal coming. None of us could. Roman thrived in his new role. He was no longer just the muscle. He was now the future of the business, handpicked by the Authority. Every match was another step towards solidifying his dominance. He became more ruthless, more calculated, and more powerful than ever before. The Shield had been unstoppable, but Roman Reigns alone, he was a different kind of beast. The climax came at SummerSlam 2014. Roman Reigns, now firmly entrenched as WWE's top heel and the Authority's enforcer, was set to face both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in a triple threat match, a Shield Civil War. The energy in the arena was off the charts. Dean Ambrose's ferocity, Seth Rollins' technical brilliance, and Roman's raw power clashed in a brutal, emotionally charged contest. The match was a masterpiece of storytelling, with moments of hesitation and anger boiling over as each man sought to prove he was better than the others. And of course, in the end, it was Roman who stood tall, his victory sealed by a final spear to Dean Ambrose. But as he raised his hands in triumph, it wasn't just victory he had claimed. It was the complete and utter destruction of the Shield, the brotherhood that had once defined him. Roman Reigns had turned his back on everything to become WWE's most dangerous force. And now, there was no one left. Roman Reigns' betrayal of the Shield had changed the landscape of WWE forever. No longer just a member of the most dominant faction. Roman was now the centerpiece of WWE's future. His alliance with the Authority cemented his role as the top heel, but it also painted a target on his back. For Dean Ambrose, betrayal left scars that would never heal. He became more unhinged, more dangerous, and more determined to tear down the corporate empire Roman had joined. Seth Rollins, on the other hand, quietly began plotting his own path to the top, waiting for the right moment to strike. And as Roman Reigns stood at the top of the WWE mountain, looking down at the carnage he had caused, one thing was certain: this was only the beginning of his reign. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a story. I think I might eventually continue with this, see where it would eventually go and how things would change in the modern day. But if you enjoyed it, thank you for watching, and I all hope you enjoy this chicken korma.